Good evening, class, and welcome to Lesson 2.4, Partial Quotients. Today we'll be looking at how we can actually come to partial quotients using our multiples of 10. So let's begin by taking a look at our essential question. How can you use partial quotients to divide by two-digit dividers? Well, let's take a look at our Unlock the Problem. People in the United States eat about 23 pounds of pizza per person every year. If you ate that much pizza each year, how many years would it take you to eat 775 pounds of pizza? Well, let's see what we need to do. It says to rewrite in one sentence the problem you are asked to solve. Well, the problem we're asked to solve, our question is, how many years would it take you to eat 775 pounds of pizza? So let's go ahead and underline our question. Now, to rewrite that, we could possibly say how many groups of 23 can be made from 775. Okay. Now let's look at our steps. It says to divide by using partial quotients. 775 divided by 23. So step 1, subtract multiples of the divisor from the dividend until the remaining number is less than the multiple. The easiest partial quotients to use are multiples of 10. So if we go over here and look, if we remember, anytime we multiply by 10, our divisor, by multiplying by 10, remember, we are simply adding a 0 onto our factor to where our product becomes 230. So we're going to keep subtracting multiples of 10 in our divisor until we have something that is smaller than our divisor. So we know that if we multiply 23 by 10, we get 230. So when we subtract that, 5 minus 0 is 5, 7 minus 3 is 4, 7 minus 2 is 5. That gives us 10 times 23, or 110. Now we have to do it again because 545 is still bigger than 23. So if we look at step 2, it says to subtract smaller multiples of the divisor until the remaining number is less than the divisor. Then add the partial quotients to find the quotient. So we are going to keep subtracting 230. 5 minus 0 is 5. 4 minus 3 is 1. 5 minus 2 is 3. So that is another 10 times 23 and 10. Okay, so we see that 315 is still bigger than 23, so we will subtract another 230. 5 minus 0 is 5. Now we have to borrow 11, 2. 11 minus 3 is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0. So we have another 10 times 23, 10. Well, we see that 85 is still bigger than 23. So now we're going to have to figure out what it is that we need to do. So we can always do, if we take 23 times 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 3 is 6. Looks like we can take 69 minus 69, which is going to give us 3 times 23, or 3 over here. So now it becomes 15 minus 9, 7 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. Right? So now in order to figure out what our partial quotient is, we add up all the numbers on this side. 10, 20, 33. So 775 divided by 23 is 33 with a remainder of 16. So it would take you more than 33 years to eat 775 pounds of pizza. Now, one thing to keep in mind, depending on the question, a remainder may or may not be used in answering the question. Sometimes the quotient is adjusted based on the remainders. Right? Let's take a look at another example. It says that Miles is helping his father with the supply order for his pizza shop. For next week, the shop will need 1,450 ounces of mozzarella cheese. Each package of cheese weighs 32 ounces. Complete Miles' work to find how many packages of mozzarella cheese he needs to order. So remember, we're going to start with our divisor with the multiples of 10. So multiplying 32 by 10 gives us 320. So we have multiplied 10 times 32, and that's 110. Now we're going to do it again. We took another 320, so that was another 10 times 32, and another 10. And we still have a number bigger than our 32, so we will take 320 again, which is another 10 times 32, and another 10. And we see that we're left with another answer that is bigger than 32, so we take another 320, which is another 10 times 32, or 10. We still have another answer that is bigger than 32, so now we've got to figure out how many times we can multiply. So if we come off to the side, sorry about that, another 32, and we know it can't go 10 times, so let's go half that. And 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1, 3 times 5 is 15, and 160. So that is really close to our 170. So now we know that 5 times 32, and that would be plus 5. So now if we count up all of our partial quotients, it's 10, 20, 30, 40, plus 5 is 45. So 1,450, or 1,450 divided by 32 is 45 with a remainder of 10. So he needs to order 46, because he can't order just a part of one. He needs to order 46 packages of mozzarella cheese. Now, down at the bottom it says to use different partial quotients to solve the problem above. So, we could go double 32 to where it would be 640, and that would be 20 times 32, or 20, and that's 0 minus 0, 5 minus 4 is 1, we need to borrow, which would be 14 and 0, 14 minus 6 is 8, and we see our answer is still bigger than our divisor, so we could do another 640, which would give us another 20 times 32, and another 20, so 0, now we need to borrow 11 and 7, 11 minus 4 is 7, 7 minus 1 is, or 7 minus 6 is 1, and we're still bigger than our divisor, and if we remember at the top, we can go by 5, which would be 160, which would be 5 times 32, and 5, and that's going to leave us with 10, and that will leave us with 45. So our answer would still be 45 with the remainder of 10. Now, let's take our problem of the day. It says, Holly has 38 cookies. She has 5 friends coming to visit. If Holly and her 5 friends each eat an equal number of cookies, about how many cookies will each person eat? Well, let's think about the question that we need to answer, and that's about how many cookies will each person eat. Except there is this amazing keyword, about, which means that we will be estimating or rounding. Now, let's look at it step by step. She has 38 cookies. She has 5 friends coming to visit. This could be a distractor if Holly, which is one person, and her 5 friends, which equals 6 people, each equal an equal number, which means to divide, about how many cookies will each person eat. So then we've got to look at 38 divided by 6. Now we know we can't take 3 divided by 6, so we need to put our x over our tens placeholder and look at 38 divided by 6. 38 divided by 6 we know goes 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. 38 minus 36 is 2. 2 becomes our remainder. So it says about how many cookies will each person eat. And we know that 6 is our answer because they cannot eat this remainder. So our correct answer is going to be C. Alright, make sure that you record this problem and bring it with you to class tomorrow, and I'll see you then.